Hey, what's up, guys? So welcome back to the Sports Stuff video. Today, we are talking about the NFL offseason, going over the signings so far. It is Sunday, March 9th, the day before free agency officially starts at 4:27. So if something happens tonight, I obviously won't be having a video covering it. But I want to go over all the current free agent signings that have already happened pre-free agency. So basically, these are extensions that have already gone through the works, gone through the team, through the wire, and these guys are staying on their team, not hitting free agency. So if you guys do enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get to the video. So, obviously, we're going to start with the AFC East. As you can see at the top of the screen, the Buffalo Bills, so far, the only team that have made any signings. So, the Buffalo Bills, they extended Khalil Shakir, their starting wide receiver, out of the slot. Khalil Shakir, he's actually a pretty good receiver. You know, he's the middle of the field attacker. The dude comes out of the slot because they have Keon Coleman on the outside. They have Curtis Samuel on the outside. Khalil Shakir has been their slot receiver for the last couple of years. And this past year, I believe it was top 5 when it comes to yards per reception. Like at point of catch, where's to catch the ball? He was like top 5 in that range. And I believe he was also top 5 in first down receptions. So no, Khalil Shakir has turned into a really good receiving weapon for Josh Allen, for this offense. And I think, you know, lock up good receivers, lock up good guys that you have drafted, developed, and now you pay them. And Khalil Shakir, 4 for 60, 32 million guaranteed. So that's what, 15 mil a year. So it's basically a 2-year fully guaranteed deal with 2 additional years you can extend the money into. But again, after 2 years, they have an out, so not too bad. I think for Khalil Shakir, you know, 4 for 60. That's just above what Gabe Davis was making, but for significantly less money. So not awful. I like it. Keep up the guys in your team that have deservedly earned their payday. Then grabbing Greg Rousseau as well, 4 for 80, 54 million guaranteed. So it's about 20 mil a year. And on top of that, after year 3, only 14 million guaranteed, and the 4th year completely void of guarantees. So, you know, again, Greg Rousseau, another guy they've developed really well. Greg Rousseau's extension led into Von Miller being cut. It's like just like I expected in my offseason plan a few days ago, that Von Miller would be cut to, you know, extend some of their guys. And the Buffalo Bills have been very active, right? They've been very active on guys that they have developed, that they want to extend them and keep them on their team and reward talent that they've developed. Gregory Rousseau, coming out of college, was a really good run defender and has turned into a really good pass rusher as well. Definitely has earned that payday as a bookend defensive end. If only 20 mil a year, we just saw Myles Garrett get 40. And Gregory Rousseau is absolutely in that tier 2, tier 3 of pass rusher where a team would want him, but you can't let him go, right? Like, you can't let him go, but you don't want to pay him top end of the money. So only 20 mil a year, only 2.5 years guaranteed. And that's a pretty good number for the Buffalo Bills on Gregory Rousseau. A guy who can still develop as well. He's not done developing. He's still only like 26, 27 years old, so he's entering his prime. I think Gregory Rousseau on this team was a really good pick when they grabbed him. They still have AJ Epinesa opposite of him. I like it. I really like the Gregory Rousseau contract. Then linebacker Terrell Bernard, 4-year, 50 million. I'll be honest with you guys, I am a little shocked Terrell Bernard got more money than Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton got 3 for, what was it? It was 14 or 15 mil a year. It was like 3 for 40 or something like that. 3 for 45. But yeah, Terrell Bernard got more money than Nick Bolton. I probably wouldn't have done that. But again, Terrell Bernard, you know, the Buffalo Bills have had so many linebackers come and go in their defense that I think Terrell Bernard, they're like, you know what, he's good enough. Let's extend him. I think TJ Edwards definitely should have been extended before Terrell Bernard was. But, you know, they let him go. And Terrell Bernard is the guy that eventually replaced him. You know, Matt Milano is definitely towards the end of his career. Injuries have just mounted on him. So you're having a linebacker who, in your system last year, led the defense. Honestly, he led that linebacker core in tackles and pressures and run stops. So you know he can lead your linebacker core for the next couple of years. And again, only 25 million guaranteed. That's 50% guaranteed. That's a crazy number, right? That is a crazy number. That is essentially 2 years, a 2-year deal, right? Because after 2 years, there's no guaranteed money left. You can cut him and get all that cap space back. I'll be intrigued to see how he plays now that he got his payday. But, you know, Terrell Bernard was definitely a guy on my board that I thought could get extended. I am shocked. I thought they would have let that go into next year, because I believe he's going into his 4th year, so he's still on his rookie contract. So I really thought they would let that leak into next year and then maybe ink a deal next offseason. But Terrell Bernard, going back to the Buffalo Bills, again, he led the team in tackles, led the team in run stops. So not an awful contract. 4 for 50. You know, that's what, 12 or 13 mil a year. Not that bad. It's not that bad. Then no one else in the AFC East has signed anyone yet, and no one with any extensions. So in the AFC North now with the Baltimore Ravens, yesterday when I was making my Chiefs video, Ronnie Stanley actually got signed to an extension, so I had to re-record my Chiefs offseason plan video because Ronnie Stanley got signed as I was recording about Ronnie Stanley going to the Chiefs. So 3 years, $60 million to retain their left tackle, their Pro Bowl, All-Pro left tackle. That was the Baltimore Ravens' number one need, was to re-sign Ronnie Stanley. I think there's a lot of guys that they can let go and just replace through the draft and free agency. There was no one that could replace Ronnie Stanley. There was no one. And I'm going to guess they probably backloaded this contract because this upcoming season, they don't have too much cap space. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is a very low cap hit year 1 and then year 2 and 3 with multiple void years. That's what I'm expecting to see in this Ronnie Stanley contract. But again, the Ravens' number one priority was to re-sign Ronnie Stanley. They got Ronnie Stanley back. Good job. 3 for $60 as well. You know, it is $20 million a year, but he could have gotten 22, 23, 24 mil in the open market. So the fact that you're able to retain him, again, like I say, it's always easier to retain talent because you pay 60% of the market value when you re-sign your own guys. And again, Ronnie Stanley would have gotten 22 to 25 mil a year in the open market. You get him for 20. That's $2 million you can use on another contract. So that is a win for the Baltimore Ravens and Ronnie Stanley to get that contract. Then the Bengals getting T. Higgins. They did tag T. Higgins. You know, we'll see what happens. They have Trey Hendrickson on the trade market. Not great. I'll be honest with you, that's not great knowing that you're going to lose Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals, especially with the Myles Garrett extension, making him the number one paid, outside of quarterback paid player in NFL history. Knowing Ja'Marr Chase wants to have that title as well, that just drives up Ja'Marr Chase's number, which then drives up T. Higgins' number. So you tag him right now currently for 26.2, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens, man. I think they can do it. If you guys go watch my Bengals rebuild, my offseason plan for the Bengals, I made it work where you had Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, and Ja'Marr Chase, and Joe Burrow all on the same team. The issue is the ownership, right? The owner is notoriously cash poor. You know, they're worth billions of dollars, but it's all in stocks, right? They don't have cash money. And the Bengals need cash money to sign these extensions. That's just not going to work out. We'll see what happens. I really am intrigued to see what happens. But T. Higgins is currently on a franchise tag. We'll see if he gets an extension or even plays for the Bengals next year. Mike Gesicki on a 3-year deal. That's not bad at all. You know, I thought Mike Gesicki should get extended. He was the linchpin tight end for them. You know, good check down option, good pass blocker. I thought Mike Gesicki definitely deserved to get an extension with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then Tanner Hudson, 1-year deal, back at tight end. But again, another solid receiving option for Joe Burrow. You know, it's ensuring that tight end core stays the same next year. Because if you do lose T. Higgins or Ja'Marr Chase, however you lose them, I think it is important to make up that yardage and that target percentage in other ways, and that can be used through the tight end room. Then, obviously, the Cleveland Browns today, they signed Myles Garrett to a 4-year, $160 million extension, $123 million guaranteed. That is almost 3 years of that 4-year extension fully guaranteed at $40 million a year. I expect multiple void years, and I expect that to lower the cap hit for the Cleveland Browns this year. They haven't officially announced what it is, but we'll see what it is. And officially a no trade clause, right? Just like we see in the NBA all the time, the NFL does occasionally have no trade clauses, and Myles Garrett is one of the players that can get a no trade clause. So instead of getting traded and the Browns eating a $30 million cap hit and losing Myles Garrett and any chance for a Super Bowl run, the Browns now keep some of that intact, right? They keep Myles Garrett to be their franchise player for at least 3 more years. Because again, it's 4 years on top of the 2 years already on the contract. So he's under contract for 6 years total. So Myles Garrett, at minimum for the 2 years of his original contract and probably 1 year of his extension, will be a Cleveland Brown, right? So you have a 3-year run that you know you have Myles Garrett. After those 3 years, you have 3 more years on his extension with a no trade clause. He can ask for a trade and say, I'm not playing, only trade me to this team. And that can be how it works. He gets a little bit of leverage. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the Browns this year. I think they'll be very active in the free agency market, in the trade market. I think they'll be very active in the draft because now you have Myles Garrett on a long-term deal. You're not going to forget that he almost left your team. Like, you're not going to forget that this team needs to win a Super Bowl. And if you don't win a Super Bowl, Myles Garrett, your franchise player, will be gone. So that's a good move by the Browns and for Myles Garrett to become the number one highest paid edge. And again, when he signed his first extension with Cleveland, only for $25 million a year, that was like a top 5 money. It wasn't number 1 money. It was a top 5 money of edge rusher. Now he's the number 1 highest paid non-quarterback. Congratulations to Myles Garrett. Steelers, they signed Donald Parham. I like it. He's 6'7", a good receiving tight end. I've always liked Donald Parham. The AFC South, the Texans re-signed Dario Ogunbowale to be their backup running back. Again, really good receiving running back, good special teamer. And on top of that, He is their backup kicker. So 1 year, $2 million to ensure that you have a running back room that you trust. I'm all for it. Then you also trade for Christian Kirk, which I am gonna give that an A+. I love this trade for Christian Kirk. He was injured a lot of last year, but when he's healthy, he's a good wide receiver, man. He's a good slot option. Knowing that Tank Dell more than likely will not be back next year because of his injury. Grabbing Christian Kirk for a 7th round pick, a proven talent in the NFL, you take on his contract. That's basically your Stephon Diggs replacement and your Tank Dell replacement with Christian Kirk. I really like it. I hope Christian Kirk is healthy next year because him and Nico Collins, that's a pretty good wide receiver duo. Christian Kirk being more that inside threat with Nico Collins being that outside deep ball threat on the outside of the numbers. I like it. The Texans so far are doing good. I thought that was a great steal because they're going to cut Christian Kirk and probably another team would snag him for a good deal. But Christian Kirk getting traded instead, the Texans ensure that they get him on their contract. No one else from the AFC South has made any moves. AFC West has been pretty active. The Kansas City Chiefs, they re-signed Marquise Brown, again, another guy. Real quick, everyone on this team, I predicted they would re-sign. So Marquise Brown, 1 year, $11 million. I thought 1 year, $10 million made more sense. But when he was healthy last year, he had 4 receptions and 45 yards each game. So if you span that out, it's over 70 catches, nearly 800 yards, multiple touchdowns. I like Marquise Brown for this offense. They're probably going to lose McCole Hardman. Xavier Worthy, his off-the-field issue got cleared up. They dropped the charges. Rashee Rice returning from ACL injury. Having Marquise Brown, who you know is a proven talent in the NFL, I think was a good move. And 1 for 11. More than likely, most of it's going to be incentive-based as well. I really like it. Then Trey Smith, they franchise tagged. Again, they're going to pay him the #1 money for a guard in the NFL. It's going to happen. But he's on their team. That was the number 1 priority, was to bring back Trey Smith. And they're going to be bringing him back. Then Nick Bolton, 3-year, $45. Again, I thought more of a 4-year, $55 million deal was the range I was going. So this is a shorter term deal, but $30 million guaranteed. That's good for him. That's 2 years fully guaranteed. 15, 30, 45. It's $15 million a year. 2 years fully guaranteed. And that 3rd year, they can maneuver that contract, re-sign him, extend him, move off of him, whatever they want to do. But basically, they have a 2-year window with Nick Bolton to see if they want to extend him even further. Then Matt arrives with their punter, they tender. It's $1 million, whatever. But the team that's been the most active is the Raiders, right? So first was Geno Smith. They acquired Geno Smith in a trade for a 2025 3rd-round pick. That's a great trade for the Las Vegas Raiders. They solidified their quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years. Geno Smith was playing like a top 10 quarterback last year. If you guys watch Seahawks film, you would see that Geno Smith was constantly under pressure, and any offense that happened last year was through Geno Smith's arm. Their run game was poor, their pass blocking was poor, but Geno Smith with his accurate ball and solid deep arm ability was able to make plays happen. So Geno Smith coming to the Raiders with a far superior offensive line, and Pete Carroll, who loves Geno Smith. I'm very excited to see him run the Chip Kelly offense. But Pete Carroll, Geno Smith are back together. I love it. Again, like I said in the offseason preview for the Raiders, they need to get a coach that would solidify the Raiders culture for the next few years. And I thought Pete Carroll was the guy to do that, and that's who they went out and signed, right? The Raiders currently are at the all-time low of their franchise when it comes to perception, when it comes to their stability. So right now, what they needed to do was solidify the culture and the fan base and the franchise. Geno Smith and Pete Carroll are the ultimate idea of let's just be okay, right? Let's just solidify the franchise as a quality franchise who is trying to win. That is exactly what Geno Smith and Pete Carroll do. So I love the trade for Geno Smith. I think it's a great trade, a better offensive line. Don't be shocked if they go after Tyler Lockett as well in free agency, just to pair him and Geno Smith back up. Then Alex Kappa, 2-year, $11 million deal. Again, solid veteran guard. Actually played with Tom Brady when they were in Tampa Bay together. Now Brady owns the Raiders, the partial owner. So I think that's great that they have that storyline. But Alex Kappa, pretty solid pass blocking guard. Not the best run blocker. Multiple years in Cincinnati now after Tampa Bay. But Alex Kappa, definitely, that veteran guard, that presence you want to bring to the interior offensive line. Just, again, solid upgrade. It doesn't need to be an all-pro guard. Just a solid veteran upgrade, Then Max Crosby getting that 3-year extension. That time of signing, he was the highest paid non-quarterback, and Max Crosby just raised that number for Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett surpassed it. But it was 35 mil a year, something like that, with Max Crosby. Definitely worth it. Again, Max Crosby was in all the trade rumors, but this solidifies that this ownership, this front office, and this coaching staff values good players, even if they did not draft them. And that's something that I really love when new ownership new front office and new coach come in is, hey, we may not have drafted you, you may not have even played for us yet, but we believe in your ability and we're going to invest in you. I love that. And I think with both Max Crosby and, as you can see, Isaiah Pola-Mao, I love that culture and the idea that it doesn't matter who you played for, who you were drafted by. If you're a good player, I want to extend you. Then, as we're talking about Isaiah, their safety Isaiah, he's been pretty good run stopper at safety. 2-year, $8.45 million deal. Again, I love when teams who come in with a new front office, new coach, say, I don't care who you played or were drafted for. You haven't even played for me yet. I've barely met you. I barely know you, but I know you. I want you part of my team. I love that investment. It shows the guys in that locker room that they are valued immediately. And I think that's a great culture move as well. Then for the Chargers, they extend Elijah Molden, who they traded for from, I believe, the Tennessee Titans. He's played cornerback / safety for them, but 3-year, $18.75 million deal, $13.5 million guaranteed. So it's $6 million a year, or $6.25 million a year, and 2 years fully guaranteed, with that third year as void of guarantees. I like it. He had a good year. Obviously, the Chargers, when it comes to their team as a whole, are retooling right now. With Jim Harbaugh coming in his year 2 season now. Elijah Molden, they traded for. He played well for them. Extend him. I like it. Again, I love when teams extend guys that they didn't draft or they traded for. And I don't know. I just really like Elijah Molden in this defense. I thought he was a perfect fit for what they were trying to do. Then finally going to the NFC. The NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys extend Osa Odighizuwa. 4-year, $80 million. That includes $58 million guaranteed. So nearly 3 years fully guaranteed. That 4th year being that avoided guarantees. Yeah, I mean, again, another guy that was saying 25 to 26 million in the open market was his expectation. Resigns for 20 mil a year. Like I said, when you re-sign your own guys, you usually get them on a 40% discount. So Osa Odighizuwa returns to the Dallas Cowboys. Mazi Smith hasn't really turned out the way that they wanted. DeMarcus Lawrence more than likely is going to walk. Micah Parsons still needs a contract extension. So I think locking up Osa Odighizuwa to ensure that interior of the defensive line has a powerful voice and powerful player, I think that's a very big, important deal for them. And again, Osa Odighizuwa, 20 mil a year, was mocked at 25 to 26 mil in the open contract. That's 60%. That's about 65% back from his original long-term prediction. And I think the Cowboys, they got a really good player back, a guy they've drafted, developed, and now they extend. And again, this front office and this coaching staff have made sure to extend guys that they have drafted and developed. And I think that's really cool for the Dallas Cowboys. As much as I don't like Jerry Jones as a GM, he is always going to re-sign the guys that he values and they draft and develop. And I really like that from ownership. Then CJ Goodwin, don't know much about him. He's probably just one of those fringe roster guys. The New York Giants, they re-signed Tommy DeVito, their quarterback. No, he's gonna be their backup quarterback. Maybe fight for a starting job if they don't get one of the top guys in the draft or in free agency. He'll be in the mix to be a starter, but he's not gonna start for them. They re-sign him on a 1-year deal. Again, exclusive rights free agent. That's like $1 million to re-sign him. Chris Manhertz, backup tight end. Jamie Gillen, their starting punter. He's had a really good couple years in New York after his time in Cleveland. He's always had a really powerful arm, but powerful leg. But his issue was always accuracy, and now he's really got that accuracy locked down. So I'm not shocked he stays in New York. Good leg, good aim now. So good for Jamie Gillen. Then the Philadelphia Eagles, man, good for them. They extend Saquon Barkley. He's already on like a 2 or 3 year deal, and after 1 year, they already signed him to an extension. That's definitely to move money around and so they can restructure all they want. But $41.2 million deal, $36 million guaranteed, $15 million more in incentives. They're just trying to give him as much money as they want, right? So it's $42 million. It's gonna be against the cap, 36 of it guaranteed. So awesome. And then he can get another $15 million that does not hit the cap in incentives. So very cash heavy contract for the offensive player of the year. Guy that's the reason they went to the Super Bowl. Good on the Eagles, man. They always do this. I love how much they invest in their own team and how much they reward guys that play well for them. And speaking of another team, another guy that they reward, Zach Bond, their linebacker, 3-year, $51 million deal, $34 million guaranteed. He was the best linebacker last year in football. Amazing run stopper, good pass protector, and he actually blitzed really well as well last year. I always said it in New Orleans. He was a really good linebacker. Went to Philadelphia, and then obviously got to shine with that amazing defense. Then the Commanders, they re-signed Bobby Wagner yesterday. 1 year, $9.5 million deal, almost fully guaranteed. Bobby Wagner was the leader of that defense. What looked like he was 2014 Bobby Wagner again, by the way. That dude tackled everybody. Really good run stopper. Was surprisingly still getting coverage as well at this advanced age. The Commanders are absolutely trying to run this back and try and win a Super Bowl next year, and I love that. Then they trade for Deebo Samuel, a 5th-round pick. Deebo, not an awful trade. He's definitely going to want a new contract. They'll probably get signed to like a 2-year extension with new money. But Deebo Samuel, good wide receiver. Definitely definitely took a fall off last year compared to what he was a few years before that. But the fact that they only got him for a 5th-round pick, that's what I predicted they would be trading him for. Solid wide receiver. Terry McLaurin now has a wide receiver too. That's a veteran that he can believe in, that they were actually trying to, build around Terry McLaurin a little bit. But I definitely think that Deebo Samuel can fit in this college-style offense where gadgetiness is more prevalent than other teams. It's kind of like a souped-up West Coast offense that he ran in San Francisco. He's going to get a lot of gadget stuff. I think Deebo Samuel, for what he's going to get paid next year, is a very good guy for the Washington Commanders. Another dude for Jaden Daniels. And I fully expect him to go out and sign another wide receiver in free agency, by the way. Then tight end Zach Ertz re-signed for 1 year, $6 million. I really like it. Again, I thought Zach Ertz would return to the Commanders. He said that he wishes he was 22 so he could play his entire career with Jaden Daniels, because that's how much he likes him. That's how close him and Jaden Daniels have gotten in 1 year. So I think retaining the veterans that they retained is a very good thing for this team to show that, hey, we're trying to win a Super Bowl, and if you guys play good for us, we reward you, and we want you on this team as long as we can to try and keep the Super Bowl window open. And I really like that. And then obviously Zane Gonzalez, their hero kicker down the stretch. I really like that sign as well. Then the NFC North, Durham Smythe, tight end for Chicago Bears, backup run blocking tight end. That's not bad. But the most important things that they did was trade for both Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. So Jonah Jackson acquired in a trade for the Rams in exchange for a 6th-round pick this season. What's very important is that Jonah Jackson played for this scheme, right? Former Detroit Lion guard, played for I'm blanking on his name. Ben Johnson. He played for Ben Johnson already in his career. His first 4 years were in Chicago. 3 of those overlapping with Ben Johnson as OC. So, Ben Johnson knows how to play with Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson can help the offensive line in general answer questions and develop under this offensive line with this new run scheme. I think it's a great trade for only a 6th-round pick. You do take on his contract, a bloated $17 million a year contract. But at the end of the day, you have the money to make it work. And you trade for Joe Thuney, who was amazing. Multi-time All-Pro, multi-time Super Bowl champion, one of the best guards in the NFL. Probably, there is some chance he could play tackle. He played pretty okay at tackle in the Super Bowl. But I think, move him in the guard, keep him at guard. Because at tackle, you have Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright, who you trust. The issue is the interior. Now you have Jonah Jackson. Now you have Joe Thuney. You probably got to go out and grab a guy like Drew Dahlman at center. So I like the trades with Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. I thought it was really good. Only giving up a 4th and a 6th for 2 veterans who know how to win. I really like that. Then linebacker Amon Linebacker Amon. For what I remember when I did the Bears offseason plan, all those weeks ago, Amon was a really good run stopper. I can't really remember. I apologize. I just can't remember. I didn't do much film on Amon. But if I remember correctly, he's a good run stopper. So you can always use that on your team. Then the Lions, they re-signed Marcus Davenport, 1 year, $4.75. Unfortunately, after week 2 or 3, he tore an Achilles. So he didn't really even get to play with the Lions last year. So the fact to get him back 1 for $4.75, such a small deal, I really like that. Then Derek Barnes, linebacker, 3-year, $25.5 million deal, $16 million guaranteed. I'm not going to lie to you, I am shocked they signed him. I let him walk in my Lions rebuild. I didn't think that he was that important to what their team was trying to do. But honestly, their new defensive coordinator is their former linebackers coach. So he must really like Derek Barnes and wants to use him in different ways. Maybe move him to edge rusher, right? Derek Barnes is a pretty good edge rusher. Maybe have him blitz more than he did last year. You have Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone as those stand-up linebackers. Let Derek Barnes blitz a little bit. Maybe that's where they can see him playing next year. Then with the Green Bay Packers, re-signing Isaiah McDuffie. Really good pass rushing linebacker for Isaiah McDuffie. I definitely don't see him as an edge rusher. I see him as a stand-up linebacker. But the way his first fast twitch off the linebacker spot to jump those gaps in blitzing schemes, I thought Isaiah McDuffie did amazing last year. So I'm not shocked they re-signed him to a deal. I'm shocked there's no rumors about it yet. because they announced this like 2 or 3 weeks ago that they extended Isaiah McDuffie, and they still don't have any numbers on it. So I wonder what's gonna happen, what the actual number is gonna be. But signing Brandon McManus, former former not only Super Bowl champion, but former holder of the longest kick in the NFL history, Brandon McManus, 3-year, $15 million deal, $5 million signing bonus. So what? That's $5 million a year. I like it. You know, lock up your kicker. Obviously, your kicker retired last offseason. Your longtime kicker, Boswell. Oh man, I remember his name. He's a Hall of Famer. I don't remember his name, but he retired last offseason, and Brandon McManus came in, replaced him, and did an amazing job for Green Bay because they went through a bunch of kickers this year. Brandon McManus, they bring off the street mid-season, and he was their kicker for the rest of the year. So locking up your kicker is a very good thing. Then Theo Jackson with the Minnesota Vikings signed to a 2-year, $12 million extension. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm shocked that Theo Jackson got a deal because this kind of tells me, oh, Cam Bynum isn't coming back next year. Like, that's what it tells me. Because you have Theo Jackson, Harrison Smith, and Josh Metellus at safety. All three of them are on long-term deals. Why would you sign a fourth safety in Cam Bynum to a $15 to $20 million a year deal? That's what it tells me. It would suck if Cam Bynum did leave, but I think them re-signing Theo Jackson tells me that, you know, contract extensions broke down between them and Cam Bynum, and Theo Jackson was a backup deal. Again, solid run defender, just not the same as Cam Bynum, because Cam Bynum was an amazing pass blocker as well. So I'll be interested to see what happens with Cam Bynum. But this tells me a red flag is that Cam Bynum is not returning to the Vikings. Falcons, lawn snapper. We're not going to talk about lawn snapper. Not trying to me. We're not going to talk about lawn snapper. We're not talking about lawn snapper. But the Carolina Panthers, they re-signed Andy Dalton to a 2-year deal. That's their backup quarterback. I'm all for it. We've seen him succeed all around the NFL. We've seen him succeed in Carolina. So have a good backup plan behind Bryce Young. I'm all for it. Then Tommy Tremble, their tight end, 2-year, $16 million deal. I am a little shocked at that. They just drafted Jatavion Sanders, who finished the season as their starter. So maybe they see a lot more 12 personnel in the future with Jatavion Sanders and Tommy Tremble. Interesting. But yeah, Tommy Tremble, you know, solid tight end from Notre Dame, good receiving threat, okay run blocker. But I'm just shocked that because they have Jatavion Sanders that they drafted last year. He started the last couple of games for them. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe Tommy Tremble was a lot better than I thought, but I just didn't see him being that good. So, but Austin Corbett as well, they re-signed to a free agent deal. That was announced today, so I'm not shocked there's no numbers yet. But, you know, pretty good run blocker. Had a couple of stretches of being a good pass blocker in his career, but definitely more as a run blocker. Former guard, now move at center in the last couple of seasons, and he's found his place in the NFL, so good for him. Then the Buccaneers, they re-signed Lavonte David, 1 year, $10 million. Not shocked at all. Lavonte David will retire a Buccaneer, and as long as he wants to play in the NFL, he's going to be on the Buccaneers. And there was no indication that he was going to retire. Both Jason Light and Todd Bowles, the head coach and GM, said that Lavonte David is a Buccaneer. Like, when you think of a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, you think of Lavonte David. So I'm not shocked that they made sure that he retires a Buccaneer. Then with the Arizona Cardinals, Baron Browning, 2-year, $15 million deal. Not shocked. Another guy that they traded for before the season started from the Broncos, and it's got injured. That's all it was. He got injured, but they traded for him. They believed in him, so I'm not shocked that they extend him and make sure he's on the team for a long-term deal, because edge rusher is definitely an issue with them. Aaron Brewer. Isn't Aaron Brewer a center? Aaron Brewer. Am I wrong? I didn't think he was a lawn snapper. Yeah, he's a center. Why does it say lawn snapper? Okay, that's weird. He's a center. But 1-year deal. Okay, I could have sworn Aaron Brewer was a center. Then with the Los Angeles Rams, they restructured Matthew Stafford. He does not get traded. So they add 2 years under his extension contract. Good for him. He stays in LA. All the rumors are that Cooper Kupp will either get traded or released from the team. So Cooper Kupp is gone, but they got Matt Stafford to stand for the quarterback. You know, honestly, Matt Stafford would have gotten probably a day 2 pick for them if they traded for him. But they did not want to trade Matt Stafford. I'm happy that he is able to stay in Los Angeles and kind of, you know, live out his career with the team that he won a Super Bowl with. Then left tackle Alaric Jackson, who last season took over for starting left tackle over Joseph Noteboom, did an amazing job. He did an amazing job. He was a number 1 left tackle on the open market, in my opinion, but they are able to ink him to a 3-year, $57 million deal. So just shy of $20 million a year. So that's a great deal for them. You know, as I've been saying, a lot of these players in this extension window so far have signed for over $20 million a year. They get Alaric Jackson for sub $20 million. great for them. 35 million guaranteed. That's basically fully, I believe that's 2 years, almost fully guaranteed. I'm really happy for him. He has developed into a very, very good left tackle, great run blocker, amazing pass blocker. Kyren Williams and Matthew Stafford are happy to have him back at left tackle. Then, I did not know this, Tutu Atwell signed on a 1-year, $10 million deal. That is awesome. That is a fully guaranteed deal because that's a $5 million signing bonus and $5 million fully guaranteed base. So that is a fully guaranteed $10 million deal. That tells me that they think Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua can be their wide receiver 1 and 2 next season. And I am all for it. Tutu had an amazing year this year in the beginning of the year. They also re-signed DeMarcus Robinson already. So now you have DeMarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua, and they're going to be trading or cutting Cooper Kupp. So we'll see what happens. But I think Tutu Atwell, when he got drafted a few years ago in the second, I'm like, what are they doing, dude? And I was right for most of that contract. But last year, man, when they relied on Tutu Atwell, he was amazing. And I'm so happy he gets his money and he gets a chance to truly start for them next year. Then the 49ers, guard Ben Bartch signs to a 1-year extension. Former Jacksonville Jaguar. I like Ben Bartch. He's a good pass blocker. Cool. I'm happy he's on the 49ers. Then Jarran Reed for the Seattle Seahawks. Re-signed on a 3-year deal up to $25 million. There's a reason that they cut Roy Robertson-Harris and Draymond Jones. It's to make room for Jarran Reed's extension. I don't think he's our nose tackle. I believe he's a 3-4 defensive ends. But he's been a really good run stopper his entire career. And the Seahawks, with Mike McDonald, they love run stopping. And Jarran Reed was an excellent run stopper last year. So not shocked that they get him on an extension. But yeah, that is all the extensions so far. That's all the free agency moves that have happened. So far, I'm not shocked by anything yet. I guess the Geno Smith trade was a little out of nowhere. But if you guys enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe. As you guys know, free agency officially opens tomorrow. Or it opens this week, one of them. But let me actually check. We'll see. NFL tampering period starts. Oh, it is Monday, March 10th at noon. They're allowed to contact, begin negotiations. Okay. So as of tomorrow in about 17, 18 hours, the tampering window will open. And tomorrow I'll be going over all from 12 to 5 signings. That first 5 hours is where a lot of signings initially happen. Because right now, as I'm talking, there are teams illegally tampering. But the minute that the tampering window is allowed, you're going to see in the first 4 minutes, 100 signs happen. And you're going to be like, there's no way in the last 4 minutes, they signed all these deals and they had all these worked up. It's because they already have them worked up right now. But yeah, on Monday nights, it'll be, it'll be a Tuesday morning. You guys will see my reaction to Monday signings and vice versa, so on and so on. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'll probably also get a mock draft coming up today as well, later today, Monday night, of a pre-NFL free agency mock draft. So if you guys enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Lots of NFL still to talk about. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys. And I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.